away goal rule in the Champions League. A heated debate for many years, and it stretches beyond just the Champions League but to many soccer competitions around the world. If the aggregate score at the end of the two legs is tied, the team who has scored the most away goals out of the two legs will advance as the tiebreaker. I have Roman here today to discuss potentially abolishing such a rule and going straight to extra time if it's tied, regardless of the away goals. Roman, how do you feel about the away goal rule in the Champions League?
I like the rule. I don't really see a problem with it. We've had it for, I don't know if it's ever since it began, but years that we've seen it been enforced. And the only reason I don't have a problem with it is you should be good at home regardless. You should be able to play home and away, but when you're home, that's when you play your best. You're in front of your stand, you're in front of everything, and that's why we should keep it in play.
Yeah, it's supposed to be harder to play away from home, and obviously home field, home court advantage is a thing in every single sport around the world, and I think it offers some sort of tiebreaker. Mm-hmm. You know, would you rather a team go out on away goals? Would you rather a team go out on penalties?
Which is a crapshoot.
Which is a crapshoot, exactly. I think that at least for the away goals' sake, you've earned those away goals. You went away from home, where it's tougher to play, where the other team has the advantage going in because they're playing at home, and you scored more times at their house than they did at your own house. And as a result, you should be able to advance because of that. I think that, obviously it's tough in situations where, it's tied on aggregate, let's say 2-2, and one team adds an away goal. All of a sudden, the other team needs 2 goals in order to qualify, yep. And extra time is out the window. So in a situation like that, obviously it's hard on the team, but at the end of the day, you conceded the goal, and you keep the ball out of your net, then you're fine. And another thing is that, well, for a lot of people just criticize everything. So it gets to penalties. Well, why the hell are we deciding games of such nature on penalties? I'm sure we've all experienced heartbreaking penalty shootout losses at any point. Whether it be a World Cup final, whether it be building up to a World Cup final. Maybe your team won a big penalty shootout. Maybe a big penalty shootout early on in the knockout stage of the competition got your team onwards to eventually win the tournament outright in the final. People will still criticize the shootout method, and for soccer's sake, I think that the shootout method kind of makes sense to a degree because of how difficult it is to score. For other sports let's say hockey, I think that they should abolish any sort of shootout method and just go endless overtime till somebody scores. That makes sense to me, but for soccer's sake, the away goal rule allows for us to have a tiebreaker where we don't have to deal with penalties that people absolutely loathe. And I think that that's why the rule is set in place to begin with.
Yeah, penalties are the worst thing to watch when it's your team and the absolute best thing to watch when it's not. You have no pressure in the world at all. You don't care. You just get to watch the madness. And we should keep pens, maybe for that reason alone, and just so we can cap the game off.
Well, I think nobody likes penalty shootouts. I think that at the end of the day, you're just, for up until recently, you only got 3 subs throughout the entire game. So there's 8 guys in the field who play 120 minutes, and after 120 minutes of soccer, you simply, for a lot of guys, you simply can't go any further. From a hockey standpoint, it's a lot of shifts, so maybe the toll isn't as great, and scoring is much more likely to happen in a hockey game than it is to happen in a soccer game. And for hockey, obviously you're going hard for your shift, but you get that 1 minute shift in, then you get a little bit of a break, come back on for your hard shift, whereas soccer is continuous. I'm not discrediting hockey in terms of a athletic standpoint at all. I'm just saying that perhaps it is easier to go to great lengths in hockey because of the ability to play in intervals rather than just constant continuous. I mean, there's some games, marathon soccer games, where 115 minutes, both teams are kind of like, all right, we're going to penalties. They're kind of just passing
around the back. Everybody's cramping.
Because every minute somebody's cramping. So from that standpoint, the shootout needs to exist. But if we can eliminate that shootout from happening because of a tiebreaker that has to do with the game and what your team had the ability to produce throughout the 2 legs, then I'm all for it. I don't really understand the notion that we should get rid of the away goal rule.
No, and the one thing I like about the away goal rule the most is it awards defense. It actually awards good defense for a change, which every sport we're seeing defense kind of die off as a dying breed. Defense used to be so big. Now everyone's going big offense.
The art of defending is going away.
It is, which is sad. Gotta love your defense. And that's why look at teams like Juve. A good defense and a goalkeeper can take you far. And we've seen it time and time again.
Or even the big one for me is
Atletico.
Atletico recently. I'm thinking Italy in the 2006 World Cup, where they really didn't have that much goal scoring prowess. They just didn't concede.
That was a monster team, but with a phenomenal
defense. There's a phenomenal look. Let's start with the final and move back. So the final 1-1. Yep. They only allowed 1 goal to France over 120 minutes. They allowed 0 goals to Germany over 120 minutes in the semifinal. I don't believe they did not concede to Ukraine in the quarterfinal. They did not concede to Australia in the round of 16. In the group stages, they conceded an own goal to the United States.
That's the only one.
I believe they kept a shutout against Ghana, and I believe they kept a shutout against the Czech Republic. So
that's the only one. It was just the own goal by Zaccardo.
So look, they conceded. What was it? Was that 2 goals?
Yeah, 2 goals through the whole tournament.
So obviously, that's not a European competition, but like if your team doesn't concede and the art of defending is this, you can win tournaments. And I get Italy perhaps didn't have the greatest competition on their way to the final, but when they got to Germany, the favorites, they did not concede in the semifinal. Looking at Atletico, go to the Liverpool one. Liverpool's one of the most free scoring teams in Europe, but managed to shut them out at their home stadium. All of a sudden, it's in their favor going into the second leg. As soon as Atletico scored a goal, as soon as Llorente scored that goal, oh holy shit! The game was wide. The game was wide open. The Liverpool had to come back and score again because Atletico earned that right by not allowing a goal at home. So every sport is changing up the rules to kind of stop people from defending so easily. So basketball is you can't crowd the paint anymore as much. So it's easier to score. They're enabling scoring. Hockey have adjusted net sizing. They've adjusted rules to make it easier to go attack.
Look at OT in hockey.
Well, there you go. They made it 3-on-3. They want you to score.
It's also the entertainment factor.
It's also obviously goal scoring is the entertainment. Like as great it is to see some master defending. At the end of the day, you want to see goals, and that's the reality. But the away goal rule, to sum it up, it acts as a tiebreaker to stop you from watching a penalty shootout. Like would you rather go out on away goals? Or would you rather go out in a shootout? I would probably elect for the away goal rule, knowing that my team could have scored over the course of, you can talk about both legs combined, you can talk about 210 minutes, or penalty shootout where it's almost like a coin flip. So I'll go for that, and then you want to talk about defending. Look at Atletico this year against Liverpool. Dogged defending for 90 minutes at home. Go and earn your away goal away from home, and all of a sudden, you're in the driver's seat, ready to take on that position. Anything else sad?
No, you summed it up perfectly.
We'll end it there. Away goal rule is a bit of a hot topic, so let us know what you think about the away goal rule. And as usual, we post every single day in the Amateur Hour Sports Podcast. So stay up to date with the daily episodes using the links in the description on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or the YouTube video. We will see you again tomorrow for another episode.